Hi, and welcome to this live reading from Tropical Date, Postscript Island, Book 2 by R.S. Jonesee, and this is presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Chapter 1, Weston. You want me to hold a condom wrapper up to the light to see it sparkle? Was this created for a vampire? I aimed the jokes at my business director, Paris Stetson, but I had the attention of the whole product design team. A 10-person group who, according to their wide smiles, thought my reference to a famous book where the vampires sparkled in the sun was hilarious. But serious as a power outage, Paris did not. And that was why she earned the big bucks. I depended on her to help me grow my multifaceted latex corporation. I didn't say it sparkles. An amused smile surfaced on Paris's face, which showed I wasn't too bad a comedian. The colors change. Hold the prototype up to the window. Gotcha. I removed the wet condom wrapper from a presentation folder and moved near the tall windows. Come on, everyone needs to see this. Paris and the other employees scooted back their chairs and joined me. Just as she instructed, we held the iridescent squares up to the light. The colors changed when we moved the condom wrappers around. Full-blown rainbow colors depending on the angles. Even though the team had designed this new wrapper, they still murmured oohs and ahs. I like this. And I really did. The wrapper would stand out in a store while a customer tried to decide on which condom to buy. The ever-changing colors would draw attention. That and the fine reputation of long-lasting prophylactics. We gathered at the conference table again. Can we gear up with this new packaging before the super sale? Paris tapped a pen on the binder in front of her. Absolutely. The lab has the color code and just a simple add to the wrapper machine's computer. Then let's take a vote. All those in favor of using this innovative design? 11 people raised hands. Have Harry input the code. I could imagine Harry, the lead expert in the tech department, scrubbing his hands together in anticipation of adding a new application. Will do. Paris flicked a finger on the screen of her iPad. The final item for discussion is the addition of a Mrs. Snowwoman to our winter holiday toy line. Mr. Snowman, with his interchangeable parts, has been very successful. My personal assistant, Rad Huckleberry, tapped on the conference room's glass door. I waved him in. Excuse me for interrupting. Weston, your mom is on the phone. Mom? She never called this late on a Monday. Compared to my 4 p.m. California time, it was past dinner time on Postscript Island. Mom would normally be at the Monday night bingo game, an obsession she'd never disrupt with a phone call to me. I gathered up the prototypes and paperwork splayed out in front of me and stuffed them in the folder. Paris, go on with the meeting. Mrs. Snowwoman has my vote. Make sure we add a gold star to her accessories. My office was a short distance from the conference room. With my worry over Mom's unusual timed call, I reached my desk before Rad sat behind his. Instead of waiting for him to pick up the line and tell Mom I was available, I poked the flashing light. Mom, is everything okay? Oh, sure, honey. She sounded happy. The caller ID showed her home number, not her cell. Why aren't you playing bingo? They had to postpone it. A mama lizard got inside the senior services building. She holed up behind the bingo cage, ready to give birth to her babies. Animal control didn't want to disturb her. I plopped onto my leather chair and relaxed. Mom was fine. I'm sorry you missed out, but at least I get an extra phone call this week. What's up? From the other side of the glass wall, Rad shrugged and raised his hands in a gesture to ask if all was well. I pushed my thumbs up and nodded as Mom continued. I've been meaning to tell you about an offer from a company. They want to buy my boutique, but I'm not sure what to do. I need you to come here and give me advice. Come home? I raked my fingers through my hair. Going back to Postscript Island after a 5-year absence was the last thing I cared to do. Can't you just take a picture with your phone and send it to me? Or how about I fly you to Los Angeles? It's been a few months since you visited. No, won't work. Turns out a few other store owners are getting these enormous offers. I think Sante Village could use your business know-how. Weston, I wouldn't ask if I didn't need your help. I stood and observed Los Angeles' cityscape of high-rise buildings and busy streets, a far cry from the peaceful, quiet Postscript Island. There was a good reason for leaving the island after I graduated high school, and that reason still lived in Sante Village. Mom made sure to keep me updated on my friends and what happened in their lives. And with each engagement or wedding or baby news, I could read between her lines. I made a huge mistake leaving the island. But I was a wiser man now, a stronger person, and Mom needed me. Let me tie up a few things and place my yacht crew on standby. I can sail down there within the week. That sounds wonderful. It's about time you came home. The emotion dripping from her words caused shame to flare. Should have gone home before now. Hey, Mom, let's keep this a secret between you and me. Oh, sure. Once you get here, you can let certain people know you're back. She laughed. Oh, I see. Fun at my expense. Well, if this homecoming tickled her bones, I wouldn't regret it. I'll let you know when I set sail. Pleasant waters, Mom sighed into the phone. I love you. I love you, Mom. Placed the phone on the cradle and stared at the calendar blotter covering my desk. Home. I was going home. This little adventure, yes, that was what I'd call it, couldn't have come at a better time. I had planned to take a month-long vacation on the yacht, exploring Hawaii and some other islands with a makeshift crew of people who were close to me. But now all I had to do was ask Geordie Wright, my ship's captain, to reroute our path to down below the tip of Florida. Easy change for him, an exceptionally hard pivot for me. Figured I'd find you here. Geordie crossed behind me on his way to one of the 10 bars located on the yacht. He poured a diet soda and joined me on the U-shaped couch facing the underwater glass wall. Whenever you need to chill, we know to check this lounge. A school of tuna fish swam past the huge viewing window. Remind me to find a new hiding spot. You like us finding you. He sat on the end of the couch, pushed a button, and footrest rose. We're 30 minutes away from Postscript. I glanced at my Rolex. Been keeping track, but thanks anyway. Is Paris at the helm? The ship's on autopilot, but you and I know Paris could have sailed this yacht with her eyes closed. Not sure where you found her, but I wish we could clone 10 of her. Same here. Tipped back my heavy glass and drained the whiskey. Wasn't much of a day drinker, but the trip back to my hometown had me on edge. Liquid courage would help me deal with seeing the residents again, particularly Marissa Sinclair. Thinking about Marissa? Geordie asked. No. You don't lie very well. I'll never understand how you win at poker. Maybe that's why I'm so good at it. I got up to pour another whiskey, but decided I'd drink the other half of Geordie's soda. Wouldn't do for me to arrive at PS Resort sloppy drunk, unable to walk. That would give Marissa another reason not to talk to me. Besides, 5 drinks in, I was already bobbing on unsteady legs. Whoa, did you see that? Geordie rushed to the viewing window. He laid his head on the glass and tried to keep an eye on whatever he saw. A shark as big as me who swam by. Sorry, I missed it. Back on Marissa, where's your famous indifference you give all women? He sat on the ledge, tracing along the side of the room. If I didn't know better, I'd say you're afraid to show up at the resort. Could it be? Is this conglomerate man who has stood with me in a bar back-to-back facing 12 angry drunk men afraid of one petite woman? I rued the day I told Geordie about my past with my high school girlfriend, my best friend since kindergarten. I'm not afraid of Marissa, just skeptical over her reaction. Geordie strode to the stairs leading up to the next level. Sober up, my friend. In less than half an hour, you might see how she responds. A salty breeze wafted off the ocean while I stood on the helicopter deck covering the front of the yacht's main floor. Slowly, Postscript Island came into view. The landmass was about the size of Hawaii. Other than a few new houses dotting the coastline, Postscript hadn't changed much in 5 years. Palm and coconut groves colored the edge of the white sand running along the coastline. Rocky cliffs rose up in certain areas. The lighthouse still had a coat of blue paint instead of the standard red. A seagull called out before he swooped low to the water. Geordie steered the yacht around the northern tip, and I held my breath as the edge of Sante Village came into view. Mom's house, which I had not ever seen in person, sat clustered with other notable houses along the shore. From scouring the real estate listings, I knew from photographs which house was the one I bought for her. A short horn blast sounded on the outside speakers, signaling Geordie was cutting the engines and would soon drop anchor. The silence after the engines turned off, even though they were quiet, made the experience of seeing my hometown from this massive yacht even more surreal. Who could have imagined I'd return on a ship this size? Not me. Another horn sounded. The anchor would soon drop. I stopped pacing and sat on a chaise under a canopy. From experience, even though the yacht was slowly coasting, once the anchor dropped, there'd be a slight tug. And in my slightly inebriated state, a sitting position might come in handy. About 15 minutes after the yacht came to a complete stop, Geordie joined me on the deck. I hadn't moved from my port perch. I radioed the resort to ask for permission to land the helicopter. I guess there's another chopper ready to take some people to Florida. The pilot will wait for me to drop you off on the second helipad. Ready? I hiccuped. If you got permission, yes, I guess we should go. Geordie stood over me with a wide stance, hands on hips, his expression dead serious. No, I mean, are you ready? Meaning, are you ready to meet your past? Panic rose in my throat and I had to swallow twice to clear it. I'm not going to stay here and hide if that's what you're asking. Hop in the chopper. Destiny waits on no one. So they say. My gut churned like I had scooped up a minnow, but I pasted on a smile. On rubber legs, I crossed the landing deck, but I wouldn't blame it on the booze. No, the unstable gait was due to fear. I climbed in the passenger seat while Geordie performed outside pre-flight checks before sitting in the pilot's seat. We slid on our helmets and he checked the dials, plus did other stuff. The engines roared to life and the blades began to spin. Through the microphone on the helmet, he radioed the other pilot to say we were 1 minute out. 1 minute. Scrubbed at my forehead, but jerked my hand down before Geordie could see. 1 minute before I touched my feet on solid ground, the ground I used to run barefoot on as a child, the land and residence I deserted. Why didn't I beg Mom to fly to California instead? We waved at Paris, standing in the captain's wheelhouse on the third floor. Geordie lifted us up and over the yacht. Even though we had some fun by dipping over the palm groves, thereby churning the chum in my belly, the flight wasn't nearly long enough. Within seconds, I made out the resort and the huts off in the distance, and the 2 blue and yellow helicopter pads. The sleek black helicopter sat on one. A large crowd of people were off to the side. I sunk low in my seat. I had hoped to sneak into the resort office and see Kingman and Marissa Sinclair before I saw anyone else, particularly a certain person. But from the looks of the size of this crowd, I just might run into several familiar people. Geordie continued to talk in the mic while he skillfully landed on the empty helipad. The wind from the blades caused the crowd to hold down skirts and hats or cover their faces. I spoke into the mouthpiece. When you get back to the ship, tell Paris I expect her to relax while I'm gone. Will do, and you should take the same advice. Enjoy seeing your mom. That's my plan. I removed my helmet and opened the passenger door and climbed out. A quick scan of the crowd offered a few recognizable faces. Kingman stood near the other chopper. And what? Keaton and Aiden Redding and their mom? Wonder why those business friends were here. And then I saw her. Everyone else faded away as I zeroed in on the magnificent Marissa Sinclair. I hadn't planned on what I'd say when I saw her, and I never dreamed I'd see her within seconds of landing, but apparently my body knew what to do. I found myself strutting up the slight incline, straight to her. Behind me, I barely detected Geordie lifting the helicopter to fly back to the ship. The air around us shortly settled down, but my pulse still raced like I had run a marathon. Continue up the path, wearing an unstoppable smile, heading straight to Marissa. Her old pet parrot Waldo perched on her shoulder. I had forgotten about him, but he didn't hold my attention long. I zeroed in on the gorgeous woman before me. Weston? Marissa clutched her chest and stared at me. I got within an arm's length and drunkenly leaned in. There's Waldo. Marissa promptly poured the contents of her glass over my head. Without so much as a WTH, she stomped away in the direction of the resort office and never glanced back. Amid the gasps from the spectators and Waldo repeatedly squawking, "Suck a duck," Kingman grinned and exclaimed, "Postscript Island, where everyone scores a second chance." Unsure of what to do, I waved at the gawking crowd. But one thing I did know, this welcome home certainly changed my plans.